Hey, hey,
Hello.
how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, good. Let's see. Continue as Joseph. I'm gonna try to stream this. It's probably not gonna work because it's share on your timeline. Yeah, I can't share my thing. Okay. Well, we're not gonna go live on there. So we'll just record it. So I don't think anyone else is gonna I don't know why. It's interesting. I unfortunately since Facebook groups has banned live streaming into it, it's just become super complicated.
It
So
has? Oh,
yeah.
that sucks.
So yeah, but it's okay. How are you, Nabila?
I'm good. I'm good.
Cool. So, yeah, I mean, welcome back. I know you've been on a couple times. Um, for those that are watching this replay because they're not able to get the live stream in the Facebook right now. Let's see. Hold on. I'm seeing a couple of people. Yeah, some people registered. So, tonight we're just going to talk about college credits with the AP courses because we are up on the deadline here. November 15th is the last day to register on time, that is, to register for the AP exam. So basically, every school has an AP coordinator that has AP subjects, and parents have to pay for the exams. Some schools do pay for them, but the 15th is the deadline, the last day to register. And then I think you can register late, but we basically know for the most part, if you're taking the exams or not. So that means that in, let's see, we are 18 plus about 21, 22 weeks away from the AP exams. So, and it'll fly by really fast. And tonight, just want to talk a little bit about how to get the most out of the AP courses, the AP exams, and speak to an experienced college counselor like yourself
Mm-hmm.
to walk through because I think there's a lot of misinformation out there when it comes to this. I see people make comments on our Facebook page, not the group, but page all the time, how dual credit is better, how their AP classes didn't get them anything. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of stuff that seems concerning, but we take the approach that you're just not properly leveraging it. You're not going in with a plan. So I
Mm-hmm.
see a lot of our students. So but before we get to that, welcome everyone joining at Acing AP Exams Live, joined by my former student and college admissions counselor, Miss Nabila. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you.
Everything going good?
Yep. All's well.
All is well?
Mm-hmm.
Good old VA holding up down there?
Yep. It
Yeah.
gets dark so soon now.
I
I mean,
can't.
it's good weather to like hunker down and do work.
It's weird, right? Because like I love the fall and I
Mhm.
actually like 60-degree football weather, but I absolutely hate how it's because you're like done at
Yeah.
five.
Because
You're absolutely
you can't really like go stomp around in the leaves
right. You can't
once
do
it's
much
dark.
of anything. So it's just the time change. But
Yeah.
like you at least got the holidays to look forward to, but what's the really rough months are January and February because that's
Yeah,
like
because there's nothing like everything's done. You know.
but we'll be in the middle of test prep. So
Yep.
um for those that don't know, Nabila was a former student of mine way back almost 10 years ago. One of my brightest students, and one that I share examples with of how she used a proper plan with early action, to get into Columbia University as a sophomore, earn 30 credits through her IB exams, and save $65,000 in the process. So it's pretty cool that you're able to do that. Now, did anyone guide you with that, or like did you basically do it yourself?
No, I had to figure everything out myself. My parents, my mom hadn't gone to college and my dad had. But as you know, he's always like worked abroad. So
Right.
I didn't really have like parental supervision while applying to college or APs or anything or IB. So I kind of just through trial and error and through going through it, learned all of the ways that you could use your whatever you studied in high school towards college, and it really worked out in my favor. I was very pleasantly surprised, you know.
That's impressive that
Yeah.
you were able to do that because that's not the case. I mean, a lot of kids don't
Yeah.
know what's going on. And you're new and you were new to the country too, right? You're not like it's like this is like you're a multi-generational American. You basically had to figure it out on yourself as an immigrant. As an
Yeah.
immigrant.
Exactly, yeah. So I am an immigrant from Afghanistan, and so definitely it was like I have a lot of older siblings who also went to universities, but they all went to like state schools nearby, and they didn't take AP courses or IB courses. So if you don't take the courses, you're not very aware of the exams, and then you're also not very aware of how you can use that towards college. So I was like kind of the first kid in my family to go through that.
Got it. So when did you know you wanted to go to Columbia University?
I was always really fixated on New York for some reason.
Okay.
I'd never even been there, so I don't even know why.
No?
I was just like, and it's interesting because I wanted to study politics, so you'd think that, we already live like
Right. In BC.
in DC, that I would want to go to like, Georgetown or something else. But I don't know, I was always just really fixated on like going to a big city. And what's bigger than New York City? So I think that's what really drew me to Columbia. And I knew a couple of people that had gone there. So that was also what, made me want to go because they really liked how it was the setting basically.
Mm.
Yeah.
Did you say you never visited it
I
before you?
had never the
So your
first.
first time going there was you coming back from Afghanistan because you took a year
Yeah.
off,
Yep.
just showing up as a sophomore. You're like, here I am.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And was it everything that you expected? Like, was it better?
Um,
Disappoint?
I think it was better than what I think I didn't really have, an idea of what it would be like, because I had never gone. So maybe if you go as a tourist, you'd have more of that perception of like, oh, there's buildings and there's that. Or if you, so for me, I went straight into like the academic setting.
Right.
So it was fine. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of friends that were international students as well. That's like one of the perks of being in the city is that it attracts a lot of international students. So, great friend group, and I think it was better than like I didn't know what to imagine, so it was better than what I thought it would be for sure. And especially yeah, getting to use those credits to my advantage. It gave me more freedom to take the classes that I actually wanted to take. Um, say that and also like lessen my burden each semester. So I
Right.
didn't have to do, like I wasn't on a tight schedule of, oh, I have to take 15 credits or 16 credits to graduate.
It
So
was
the pressure was a bit um less for me, and that counts for a lot at a school like Columbia where it is so competitive and everybody
right.
is super competitive amongst each other. If you have even a little bit of leeway, you're like, okay, well, I can breathe a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's interesting because it's like uh I did not go to Columbia for my undergrad, but I will tell you that having the difference between having 15 and 12 credits is monumental when it comes to the time you get back. And if you could take even less, it's awesome. Or taking those more interesting courses, like you said. So, okay, so we graduated and we got into college admissions. Why were you attracted to college admissions?
I think, one thing I always look back on is I loved walking around campus and seeing people take college tours.
Yeah,
And just like seeing the students that were interested in going there. I always thought like, and then them seeing me, or like a lot of my friends, like I said, were international students. So them seeing students that looked like us or was like our friend group, you could tell that it would inspire them in a little bit of a way,
all
or
right,
show them like, oh, like this is possible, or sometimes they'd even have us speak to them. So I thought that that was like always really fun to see people's like the light bulb go off in people's head,
right,
because I think if I didn't know people that had gone there, that light bulb would have never gone off in my head. that like that's even a possibility for me to move, to New York City and have this experience that I gained so much from. So just seeing that experience and something I enjoy. I've always really liked working with students. Like even when I went back to Afghanistan and taught English, I liked, that role of kind of guidance and working with young people that are ambitious. And also, like I said, one of the people that I went to Columbia with, I think I said in a previous session, she was working for a startup in college counseling. So that's essentially like the way that I got in.
Got it. Well,
Yeah,
startup has become a staple of college admissions, right? With
yeah.
Crimson.
For sure.
So, yeah, that's awesome. We're happy to have you inside our program with as you start taking on students of your own. So, so as a college admissions counselor, uh, can you kind of explain to parents out there? So we're talking to first gen Americans and immigrant families out there,
Mhm.
how AP credits work, how it's different from college to college, and how they view the AP credits.
Yeah, so AP credits are essentially if you have the advanced placement courses available at your high school, or you can just take the exams and not take the course, but the course kind of leads up to you taking the exam. Basically, it's a way to signal that your child or the student can take a honor level course or exam and excel in it based on their score from the exams in May. And that can be used essentially for colleges to see that the student entering the school might not be entering on the same level as other students entering from normal high school classes. So for example, imagine if everybody was coming into college and everybody had to take the same intro classes, right? There are students that might be ahead or for which those subjects might be too basic. And so, I think that's why that system is in place so that you can opt out of those classes and it gives you more leeway with how you plan your degree. Also, it saves you time because for a lot of the AP, if you take the courses, a lot of them can be subsidized like through your school and the exams can be subsidized. So it's just basically an option for you or your child, your student to show that I can take this higher level academic course or exam at a younger age, be able to excel and do things at a faster pace than say perhaps what is the average across the US.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're different than the SAT because the SAT is just this standardized test. It's only
Mhm.
measuring your ability to perform on the SAT, right? It's just the standard benchmark of entrance, right?
Yes. Yeah, the SAT is only just for college. It's a one-time exam. There's no like course offered at schools at least for the SAT or the ACT. And the SAT is basically, just like a timed exam that anyone can take regardless of what you're studying in school. The
And
AP is different because it has the option of taking the course and being immersed in that. And it's similar to um, as if you were taking a college class in high school, but I hesitate to say that because then, it gets confusing with the dual enrollment thing.
right,
Yeah.
right. So for those that are maybe still a little unsure, basically, so your SAT is an entrance level benchmark assessment. It does nothing other than just show you how you compare to other students. It is used for college admissions, kind of, right? Some schools use ACT, some schools are test optional. The AP exams are used in a variety of different ways because it's a curriculum controlled by College Board.
Mhm.
It's your closest standardized national curriculum that we have. We don't have national curriculum. The education is left to the states, especially the curriculum is left to the states and localities. So there's no national curriculum in the United States. There's Common Core has been tried and some states adopted it, some states didn't, but AP is pretty much adopted in all 50 states. It's not the curriculum, it's an opt-in curriculum. You don't have to take AP, but it's standardized. So it is one of our best benchmarks when it comes to performance of how kids would actually do with college level rigor. That's not to say that the class is taught the same in every class. It's not, because there's good teachers and bad teachers, but the curriculum is the same. What they're covering is the same, and how they're going to be assessed is the same. And that's really what Nabila is
Mhm.
getting into, is that ultimately that assessment is standardized. And we're looking at millions, 4 or 5 million kids who take AP exams across the country, how they did.
Mhm.
So it is important, if your kid is taking an AP class, that they do well on their AP exam. Um, as far as colleges look for, they're going to look for first admissions, because that is another factor in terms of comparison to children across the country. And then also for college credit. So it gets you college admission and college credit. Um, so I know you took IB, which is an international baccalaureate program, and a lot of the Ivy Leagues lean towards the IB program for more generous with credits. But
Yes.
I'm sure you've worked with students using AP credits before. So how have you seen that fast track their college journey?
Definitely if they've taken the exams before they're applying, well, that's, a sure way to show them, it's just another academic benchmark if you've done well, to show that, you can keep up. Another thing, like going back to what you were saying, the difference between SAT and AP is in AP, you're actually learning something. And then taking an exam for it, or even if you're self-studying for the exam, you have to learn that subject versus with the SAT, it's kind of just like a temperature check on, what do you know now versus are you going to learn the subject and then take the test. So, so, with colleges, if you've already taken APs, you've taken the exam, they see that, okay, they already know these subjects. It's not, and if you do well in it, then it shows, it's just another thing added to your grades that they can judge you on basically. And then if you're taking the courses and you're taking the exam in May and later on submitting your scores after acceptance as well, it's something that they can consider to either keep your acceptance or revoke it. Most times colleges don't revoke acceptances based on APs. It could be on grades, but again, that very rarely happens because people are usually able to keep their grades. Mostly it's for the APs that you've already taken, the AP exams you've already taken, and then the courses you've taken and are taking senior year that they will judge you on. If you're applying to a top school, you have to be taking the tough APs to show that you are, academically gifted enough to be at that top school.
Got it. So, okay, a couple of things I can ask there. So,
Mhm.
one, with dual, the difference between AP and dual enrollment. Dual enrollment is a college in the high school, meaning that high school has coordinated with a college, sometimes community college, sometimes regular college, university, 4 year college, and the professor and the school agree to allow a high school teacher to teach the curriculum college level
Mhm.
and take a final exam. And basically, if you just pass the class, you get the college credit.
Mhm.
So many people prefer that because it's easier.
Yep.
Problem. What's the problem with it then?
So
Why should
it's like, what you said, it's not standardized, number one. So the college doesn't know the level of rigor that dual enrollment class had. Also, as you said, it is kind of widely accepted and known that, it is easier because it's taught by the high school teacher and you just have to pass to get the credit. So those are, the main problems there.
well, we have the millions at home watching right now. There are there there are a lot of families that we work with in the Texas area. Shout out Hook'em Horns. Although we'll see how the rest of the college football season plays off. But We have a lot of families in Texas. I've talked to a lot of families in Texas, a lot of families in California, and some families in New York and New Jersey. We love you all out there in the United States, people, but I'm just telling you predominantly. Texas, I see a lot of dual enrollment come across our desk. So they are shocked to hear that, there is high schools that have dual enrollment credits with community colleges down in Texas.
Mhm.
Those credits, there's a term in college called reciprocity, right? The ability to receive other credits and give credits, meaning I went to a D2 football school, local state school in Pennsylvania. That school had reciprocity with other similar state schools. I actually took credits in the summer at a different school and they transferred, they matched up. The registrar office matches up. So a lot of these community colleges in Texas probably do have reciprocity with the University of Texas, Austin, and other schools like that.
Mhm.
Not that doesn't be guaranteed, but they do. But I can almost pretty much guarantee that Harvard does not have reciprocity with a community college in
Yeah.
Texas, meaning you might be stacking the credits now, but if you're trying to go, especially out of state, there's no guarantee of reciprocity across state lines for other schools. So you got to be
Mhm.
careful with that and getting this false sense of confidence that you have a bunch of college credits. Have you seen that as well?
Yeah, for sure. It really depends on your, intention. Are you trying to go to a local public school that's in state, or are you applying to the private universities that are out of state? We have students that, will put that on their list as kind of like activities that they've done, not even in their academic courses. But I'm telling you, for the top schools or the top 15, they won't really consider that, especially given like there is that general consensus of that it's not that hard,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. So if your goal is to show that you can do difficult things, it is not going to be achieving that goal. But if your goal is to have that reciprocity with, a school that's nearby or something, then that would work for you. So it depends on intention.
Right. So when it comes to college planning, because that's what I see. So I have talked to families on this side of the spectrum, which is
Mhm.
like AP is the best thing since sliced bread. It got my kid a ton of credit, saved us time, and got us through college faster and saved a bunch of money. And then I have the other side, AP is a scam, and I didn't get any credits for college. Right. So like what help us out there? What's the true story
Well,
here?
I think you can have it be, the former where it's great and it does a lot for you, just like as you said, if you plan.
You mean
Number
the
one,
lot?
you have to be, yeah, you have to be the lad. You have to be prepped for the exams, number one, to do well enough to opt out. And number two, there might be people who took AP Spanish or history or something, and then they're a pre-med student, right?
Mhm.
And so for their degree, they're not taking courses where the AP class and that course would align. Mostly most schools and most degrees have gen ed requirements that
Mhm.
AP could sync up with, right? For example, you're taking Spanish, but your school has a language requirement, so it helps you opt out of the language requirement. Even if you are pre-med, you still have to take that language requirement. So most of the time that does work. But sometimes students, they just don't know how to plan for like what classes they are taking now and APs versus, the major that they decide on later on. Um,
Mhm.
and the biggest thing as well is I took the class and I got a 3, and I go to a school that only accepts 5s or 4s or 5s. So then it's
Not worth it.
yeah,
All right.
it's worth it to take the class not do well on the exam.
Got it. Um, so that's really important out there, especially our new families. So understand this, that loading up on APs can be a good thing, can also be a bad thing.
Hmm.
Having a good plan in place is probably the most important thing.
Yep.
I say that because, like Nabila said, if you are a pre-med or if you're going into STEM, I have a lot of pre-engineer people.
Mhm.
They're shocked to find out that their kid will have to take history in college or English in college because those are gen eds. Those are, I
Yep.
call them the money making classes. Those are the big seminars. The cool thing is, and this is another fun fact, that if you take an AP Physics and your child wants to be an engineer, there is a better chance than not that even if they get a top score on the exam, they might not take the AP Physics for credit, but they probably will take a push for credit because they're going to be required to take a history. So
Mhm.
it almost works counterintuitively sometimes too.
Mhm.
It's really going to depend, but we don't want anyone to go in this blind. So anyone that's watching the replay, anyone that's watching this live, if you type credit on the comments, if you send a comment that says credit, or well, actually, you know what? Let's not do credit. Let's do quiz. Do quiz, type quiz in the comments. I'm going to send you this link. It is a free college planning quiz. Takes 30 seconds to fill out. You give us a little bit of information, and it basically generates based on two factors. One, the AP classes you're taking, and two, the schools you want to go to. It will break down the credit policy and show you how much money you could save in state and out of state tuition. That's all subject to change, right, in terms of what they accept, but it gives you a good idea on how to maximize credits. Because if you're interested in saving money, that's one journey. If you're interested in loading up on credits and getting into a top school, that's a whole nother conversation.
Mhm.
So that's completely free for our audience. Again, type quiz in the comments and we'll get that to you. Um, when do parents need to start thinking about college and college
Um,
for their kids?
Honestly, I would say sophomore year. Um,
Sophomore year?
Seriously, yeah. Most people might say junior year,
Too
just to
late though.
like a year worth of thought, but I would say to be safe, sophomore year.
Especially if we're talking about selective schools, highly
Yeah.
selective schools,
Yeah.
Ivy League schools. Do not wait till your junior year because that's going to be, you're going to be, I mean, you can do it. It's not impossible,
Yeah.
but you're going up swimming against the tide.
Yeah.
Um, and so why should families, if it's financially reasonable, and I think our program, which starts at $97 a month, you actually have access to college admissions pools like yourself
Mhm.
inside of our program in group capacity. But why should families consider having a college counselor? Because this wasn't a thing 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
Yeah, because I think it can be so mysterious to a lot of families, and every school has different requirements. So, just having somebody that knows the schools well enough for you to plan ahead with, because doing research on all of the schools separately, there are schools out there that are amazing and are going to be the right school for you that you didn't even know existed. And this goes for a lot of, first gen immigrant families, is they'll only know the top 10 schools.
Mhm.
They think of an out of state private school. And then what they'll do is they'll encourage the student, take all the APs, take all the difficult stuff. They won't really have a plan on how to make their activities look good, how to have a capstone, how to have, proper essays or any of that, but just, be academically sound and you will have a shot at the top 10 schools. That is a myth, that you need
You're
to do
saying your
so much more.
GPA alone does not matter.
No, no, not for the top schools, and I know that a lot of the schools that people know are those single digit acceptance schools. So number one, it'll help you diversify and get to know more schools. And a college counselor can help you, clarify your college list in general in the first place. And then figure out ways to maximize your application and make it the best that it can be for that school. There's a lot of data and research that a college counselor analyzes each year based on past acceptances that is not available information out, just for the public all of the time. So those are things that I wish, I had I
Mhm.
had with me, along with, the tutoring for APs or SATs, all of that, like subject tutoring, having somebody that can guide you and show you like more of what's out there. That's super important. Like I told you, if I hadn't actually met people that had gone to Colombia, it wouldn't have, opened that idea or that possibility in my mind. So
Right.
having somebody that can just basically show you other possibilities and then how to reach those possibilities is, I think, is super valuable.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll leave it at that. Ms. Nabila, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Yep.
Look forward to hearing back from you again, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you
Good night,
all.
everyone.
Have a good night. Take care.
Good night.